I think it's absolutely insane uh, how like underutilized LLMs still are. Um, there are, I mean, on top of just running into a lot of repetitive tasks that even engineers continue to do today. Um, like I think the most exciting sort of glimpse into how many more tasks can be automated is the new like types of training data that the model labs want. And like they're really interested in figuring out like how to be a product manager, like what kinds of things you need to know, how do you take a bunch of different contexts and distill it into action items, or like better ways of running agent workloads, understanding like somebody's calendar very deeply. And these tasks, like after a little bit of time, they start to show up in the models. And what our job is, what we want to do is make that work visible to everyone. If a model does a really good job managing your calendar, that should be clear in the rankings, using empirical data based on both how people are using it and also other signals that we kind of understand over time. So we're like, there aren't that many categories that like model labs are known to optimize for today, and it's just going to blow up. So I think I mean, I think it's pretty amazing how much more work there continues to be.
Just to that down there for folks who maybe are a little bit less head in this world as we are, you're saying that LLMs are going to get better at domain specific tasks by better training by their makers. And so essentially we're going to see LLMs perform better at different categories of knowledge work, product management and so forth, and not just drafting legal documents and writing computer code.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not training models myself, and so I'm not the best person to ask about the exact ways they're going to improve. This is kind of my speculation and hope, but I think the like what that's like a big signal that there's room to grow. The fact that nobody is tracking improvement on those things yet. A key kind of muscle to build when you're entering the AI space is benchmarking. Everything is about evals and benchmarks, and if you make claims without having an eval or a benchmark, what are you really saying? And there's a lot of there's just a lot of value to unlock by creating a benchmark, and it also guides the models in that direction when you do.
So evals and benchmarks are very useful. There's other vectors you might use to choose which model, which provider at which time. You guys built something called OpenRouter that essentially does some of that work for your customers. I presume today it's an unbiased setup in which you guys are only selecting for the best option for your customer. But is there a way in the future in which people could like sponsor that to get more people to try out their models for certain use cases?
It's a good question. We so far we've stayed away from letting any providers sponsor more traffic. Our goal is to be like a strong, neutral Switzerland-style gateway that gives everybody a fair shot based on real-world metrics and real-world benchmarks. So. But I do think that there will be interesting ways to shift people to new models in the future. For example, like we do a little bit of model recommendation today, but very little. You'll start to see that kind of ramp up in 2016. If you're
2026.
2026.
I know we're getting old, but like we have to at least get the decade right. You're good. Keep going.
If you, there are all kinds of workloads that are just like flooding models that are way too powerful, and don't, where you could save a ton of money.
Yeah, you don't need to use GPT-5 high if you can use, 4.1 or whatever. Yeah.
Exactly. And having like a really wide range of models and a lot of data about how they get used, I think helps there. but there's also, I think, good ways of like making very interesting model routers that we'll experiment with.
Founders, let's be real. Finding the right developers is really hard when you're trying to run and scale your startup. But Lemon.io can save you time, money, and a ton of headaches. They've pre-vetted high-quality developers, and they've ensured that they're experienced, result-oriented, and that they're seeking competitive rates. These are hand-picked devs with a minimum of 3 years of on-the-job experience, and only 1% of applications to Lemon.io are accepted into their program. So forget the long, drawn-out hiring process. Lemon's going to match you with a skilled developer in just a few days. And they're not just recruiting talent either. They're helping you integrate them into your team. And if anything goes wrong, Lemon will find you a replacement developer ASAP. We've had a ton of launch founders work with Lemon.io. So go to lemon.io/twist and find your perfect developer or a tech team in 48 hours or less. Twist listeners get 15% off their first 4 weeks. That's lemon.io/twist. LEMON.io/twist.